Summer Game Fest has basically replaced E3, and it was incredible. I'm Lofter,
And I'm Jamie.
and allow us to explain. Jamie, holy shit.
Yes.
I
I
know
heard a
you,
lot of stuff went down.
yeah, I heard you were busy, and we're going to be going all over it basically with you not knowing what's been happening. But Summer Game Fest was, I think, Friday, like the big presentation. It might have been Thursday. I didn't get to watch it live, or I would have done a reaction
Yeah.
video. But there was some incredible things on there. Have you heard about any of it at all?
Just looking over the list, since as you know, I went Amish this past weekend and was completely unplugged from technology. So I'm just now catching up on it now. And yeah, like reviewing articles from Eurogamer and IGN, there's definitely some fantastic news that was given out.
Yeah. So actually, we have IGN and also Eurogamer pulled up with a list, so we can kind of go over it a little bit. And I'm gonna go over them in the order that they appear on here.
Cool.
So hang tight with us for that. And we'll just give short bursts, opinions, experiences. Obviously, I'll probably have 1,000 more than Jamie because I talk a lot. But yeah, so we're gonna start with Lego Horizon Adventures.
I love the Lego game, so I'm all about this one.
Well, in its multiplayer, at least 2 players from what I saw. A friend can join, and it's just the Horizon Zero Dawn game, but Legos and what's her name running around acting like a whole Disney princess. She's like very snappy and quick, and you know what I mean.
Yes, exactly.
It's literally just a Lego game with the Horizon Zero Dawn. It looks great though, like all the big robots made of Legos, and of course you kill them and they drop things, and it's good. It's really good.
I
I
just
don't know
love
that
your
I'll play it, but
character.
do what?
I just love your explanation of the character.
Yeah, it's what
Having
that's how she acted. Like she doesn't act like that in the games. I did play like I think half of Zero Dawn.
yeah,
She was very like not brooding, but she's very serious. And
yeah,
in the Lego games, she's like, haha, I'm quirky and redheaded. Haha, pew. Like, you know,
and that's definitely a common theme in the Lego games. I've played quite a few amongst not only myself but my wife and my kids. The Harry Potter games, the Star Wars games, Pirates of the Caribbean, Indiana Jones. I mean, there's so many versions of the Lego games. But I'm not saying that as if it's a bad thing. Like they cater to a very specific audience. So if you like those old school like platforming style games where you're going around and you're like given a task to like search out objects and defeat enemies a certain way, it's right up your alley. Like kids of all ages is the old saying. It's perfect for that
well,
type.
yeah, like you said, kids, it's a great game to play with your family.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. And I was also happy to see this is coming across multiple platforms. This is something that I think is going to be a common theme moving forward, because even if you look at the PC environment, this is not only coming to Steam, but it's also listed for Epic Games. And then, in the console realm, Nintendo Switch, PS5 is also listed as well. I don't know if they said Xbox or not, but assumption is probably yes on that one, but I didn't see a specific mention of that
it
system. So.
actually doesn't say Xbox. It's PC, PlayStation 5, and Nintendo Switch during the holiday of 2024.
And it could
Um,
be because of the Sony tie. So now that I think about it, because Horizon is from Sony originally, so there may be something to that.
and that's what I think I mentioned last week. Is like half of the presentation for Sony at the Sony State of Play was them putting their stuff on PC.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
So, and you almost segued it, but then you went like deeper. So we have to unsegue, then resegue. Speaking of Harry Potter, they're actually putting out a Quidditch game.
I felt like they had one before. I was doing some digging. I believe it was on the Game Boy Advance. So I have a feeling this one's going to have much better graphics.
Yeah, this one's on everything. So I mean, not that much better graphics because they kind of fit on the Switch, but
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it's Quidditch. I don't like Harry Potter much anymore, but I think it is kind of cool because Quidditch was probably my favorite part of that franchise. Once I got
Yeah,
old enough to understand good literature.
yeah, exactly. All politics and personal feelings aside, like the game looks interesting. I've kind of personally stepped away from the Harry Potter universe for other reasons, but the game looks fun.
Moving forward from there, we have. So I thought there was. No, I guess it's not there yet. We'll get to what I was thinking about in a second. There's one called Cuff Bust. That's by
Okay.
the people who did Choo Choo Charles. I don't know if you played that or ever saw anything about it.
I've heard of it. I haven't played it, but yeah.
There is a playthrough on my channel.
Well, there you go.
But yeah, no, Choo Choo Charles was a lot of fun. You were a dude. It was kind of like a upgrade collection survival type game, where basically you're just trying to cap out your train and do all the side quests that you could just kill the sentient evil train. But the reason I'm bringing that up is because the creator has made a game called Cuff Bus, which was actually, I believe it's free.
Oh wow. Okay.
If I'm remembering correctly, I'm pretty sure this was the one that was free, and it was made by one guy. But you're like these little things, and you're escaping jail, and it's like almost like Among Us, or what's that other one where you all the mini games and everybody competes against each other. I can't think of the name of it. Fall Guys. Fall Guys.
Oh, Fall Guys. Yes, I have played that before.
Yeah, it's kind of like a cooperative. You're all breaking out of jail, and like they showed, like, you can steal a van and bust through the gate, or you can steal the helicopter, and like they were digging through walls and fighting guards, and it was really silly looking, but it also looked kind of cool. It's definitely it's a YouTuber game. This is a game that YouTubers will be playing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which isn't as big of a deal as it was in, during COVID. That's the only reason Among Us did as good as it did. It just kept people sane during COVID. So it was
They had some interesting events. Yeah, I remember when it first came out, and we did the install to PlayStation. I actually plugged it up in the living room. I had some family members over, and they were getting into it, not wanting to play it because they could tell like how frustrating the gameplay was, but they were enjoying like watching me get devastated, or my kids when they were playing. But yeah, a lot of fond memories of that, even though I was terrible at the game.
is that Among Us or Fall Guys?
Fall Guys.
Yeah, I played both of them. As a YouTuber, I was obligated to play both of them at least a tiny bit.
I think I was fortunate enough to win like one of the medals like one time. The rest of the time I just bombed out very badly.
I always lost like right at the end. I would get to like top 5 and just choke.
Yeah.
So the next one is a game called Neva, which is from Nomada Studios, and they made another game that was really good called Gris that I played. It's a story-driven platformer. Like, there's not a lot of threat to anything, but like the whole story at its core is a girl grieving over her mother dying.
Got it.
And so Nova probably will have some pretty good, like pretty fun puzzle stuff. Gris ran, I think, 4.5 to 5 hours. And in Neva you control a girl and a wolf that evolves into a mythological creature by the end, based on the trailers.
Okay.
So that's gonna be fun, or it probably will be. It's also very colorful, and it's beautiful artwork. Like, it's one of those games you just play to look at, and you sit on it for a second, you're like, huh, and then you move on. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
And
Absolutely.
then they had Civ 7, which I don't care about, but Ian's probably gonna be hype.
Yeah, I played some of the older versions. We probably just need to bring him on for an episode and just let him be unleashed to talk about
Let's bring him home
the
for every episode.
and...
Let's do 4-man calls with him and Taylor.
Oh my god.
We just bring back the whole morally bankrupt crew.
Absolutely nothing would be accomplished, but it would be hilarious.
It'd be great. I'd love it. After 6, 7, we have one that I'm personally super hyped about, Black Myth Wukong.
Okay.
It's Wukong, like the monkey god.
Yes.
From, I think, Chinese mythology. You play as him, and you have a stick and presumably many powers, and it's a Souls-like.
Interesting.
Yeah, and they've been showing it for years, and I mean, I'm talking like 2020, it's 2019. It's one of those that's been in development forever.
Yeah.
But it's finally coming out, and I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, I was looking at the release date on that one. This is interesting to point out too, because it's listed for August 20th for PC and PlayStation 5. It will be released on Xbox, but for some reason there was a strange mention that it's going to be pushed to a later date for quote-unquote quality standard reasons. I don't know what that means. I haven't seen that before, but I thought that was interesting to note.
So for starters, I mean, Xbox and PS5, while very similar, they probably have different hardwares.
Oh
So
yeah,
they probably finished it as an exclusive for PS5, and then PlayStation's like, actually, we want to release things everywhere else because we're not making any money. So it's much easier to port things to PC from PS5 than it is to get it on the Xbox. So
yeah,
that's my guess based on my literally no knowledge.
exactly. Who knows? And then there
Um,
was one, scrolling back up a little bit on one of these articles, No Room in Hell 2. So this one, I played the original. This goes all the way back to, I want to say, like 2011, 2012 on Steam. If you pull up the Steam reviews for the OG version, it still
oh,
ranks pretty highly, like 9s out of 10s, across the board. Even like recent users or players of the game still ranks pretty high. So this is another one of those cooperative, like first-person survival horror games.
oh yeah,
So really interested to see like
eight
how they're going
player
to continue.
co-op.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm really interested to see how this one's going to turn out. So yeah, the first one came out a while ago, like over 10 years ago. This one's currently going to be an early release in time for Halloween, so that makes perfect sense. So I'm interested to see what that's going to be like. I'm going to definitely try to partake in early access to that one since the first one was a lot of fun.
So this is just like left. It is just Left 4 Dead. Just it looked a little slower, maybe.
I mean, you are set in a zombie apocalypse like Left 4 Dead. So yeah, they're very similar in aspect. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a way to explain it. Probably the biggest difference is this one was done as a freeware model. The first one that was. I'm not sure about the second one. So it was opened up to a broader spectrum of players. So you could play it across not only Windows but like the Microsoft operating system, Linux, Macintosh, etc. So it was definitely heavily available for like customizations before Left 4 Dead was. In my book, I know Left 4 Dead has tons of customizations now because it's Steam,
Yeah,
but this kind of opened up the door for that in the first one. So but yeah, definitely interested to see the second one, how that's going to turn out.
interesting. Yeah, I skipped that one because I didn't know anything about it. So it's cool that you actually did know something about it.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, that's great. Awesome. Next VR game of the night, Asgard's Wrath 2 VR. It's out now. Don't know anything about that. You know anything about
I
that?
heard the first one was fun. Like I haven't played it, but it ranked very well across the various review websites, and I know that was a big selling point for a couple of the different VR systems. But yeah,
Hmm.
that's a nice little surprise where they had a drop, an immediate drop. So we don't see that very often these days.
Gotcha. Okay. And then after that, there's Only Human, which is another one I don't really know anything about. It's just described on here as shooter looks like it's going to be a mixture of science fiction and fantasy, and it'll come out on July 9th on PC.
Yeah, I got nothing on that one either. I don't do a lot of VR, so we do own one of the Quest VR headsets, but we mostly what do we use it for? A lot of like the different dancing games, and then my kids are also using it to learn how to play piano as well. So
That's cool.
that could be a whole podcast topic: how you can use the pass through like video camera technology for things such as learning piano and guitar and stuff. But that's a story for another
That's incredible sounding, though. Yeah, I want that story.
day.
Warhammer 40k, Space Marines 2, which I'm not interested hardly at all in Warhammer 40k, but I'm gonna be honest, this game looked dope as hell.
First one was fantastic. It was game of the year for me the year it came out, which has been a minute now. So definitely excited to see part two.
It looks kind of like Gears of War for me.
Yeah, there's a lot of similarities to it. For the folks that aren't into Warhammer, obviously you may already know at least that it started as a tabletop game. You basically build out your army, customize it, you paint them yourselves, etc. So eventually it did cross over into the video game realm, super popular. There's like tons of different Warhammer games. The issue that I have with the Warhammer video game environment is they're quick to lease out the name to various different companies. So the best advice I can give you is just pay attention before buying a Warhammer video game as to which company it's coming from, because some of them are going to be from like the bloatware companies that are just trying to make a quick buck. But you do have good licenses such as like Sega. Sega's put out a few games along with some other companies, but I assure you this will be a good one. The first Space Marine game was fantastic.
We'll probably end up playing it on the multiplayer stuff. We did play a good bit of Vermintide and really liked it, so
That's good to hear.
yeah, Vermintide 1 and 2. Okay, so this is one that I'm really, really, really excited about.
I was waiting for you.
Metaphor Refantasio.
Mamma mia.
Mamma Mia. It's by the creators of Persona 3, 4, and 5.
So it's not Italian. Okay, sorry.
It's not Italian. It looks very much like a Persona game without the Persona aspects, or at least some of the Persona aspects. Um, I've been watching it for a little while. I've done some reaction videos on different things. It's kind of like they have a system where it's a turn-based RPG. But they also have a system where like if you come up on an enemy and you're just way stronger than it, you can actually kill it and actually as an action game, like with normal attacks.
Okay.
But like if you can't or you run into it or whatever happens, it goes into like a turn-based combat, you know. That.
Exactly.
But what I did learn from Summer Games Fest that I guess I haven't noticed is that there's over 40 playable classes that you can swap on the fly.
Oh wow. That's
Yeah.
impressive.
And there's like, it's Dragoon, Warrior, Mage, all that kind of stuff. Of course, they don't. It actually was Dragoon, which I guess isn't a Final Fantasy exclusive thing.
Okay.
But yeah, it's really cool looking. And then there's Batman Arkham Shadow, which is, I guess, a new Arkham game. I mean, I really liked them back in the day when I had nothing else to play, but I can't see myself getting excited over a new Batman Arkham game. What about you?
I mean, it depends on like what kind of game it is. I'll be honest with you, I haven't watched the trailer for it yet, but I did see it mentioned being from a company that worked on VR games. So I'm curious if it's going to be a VR game versus like a traditional Batman Arkham game. The other ones were pretty fun. Yeah, it would have to bring a lot to the table for me to get back into it because, like, probably the best way to explain it, if it's like one of the original ones, the non-VR ones, it's fun for about a couple hours and then it becomes very tedious after you go through the I'm Batman phase and get that out of your system. I did play through and beat like the first two that they worked on, but yeah, I haven't really touched any of them since. Yeah, the VR one I haven't touched at all, but this says it's from the company that was behind the Iron Man VR. That was fun, but also very extremely short. I think I picked it up and played it for maybe 45 minutes, and I haven't thought about it until we read this article.
Well, there you go. And honestly, I didn't even notice it was for VR until you just mentioned
Yeah.
it. And of course, you and I talked about the next one pre-show recording, but Street Fighter 6 dropped their season 2 announcement. So number one, there's a lot of split in the community anyways, because a lot of people are pissed that 2 of the character slots are taken up by guest characters. It's Terry Bogard and Mai Nipponichi, whatever the hell her last name is. Just a funny side note. I think pretty much me and the entire white race thought that Mai used to say "me so bouncy," but she actually said Nipponichi, which is Japan's number 1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's just a fun little fact. Nobody, especially back in arcades and stuff, the translation, nobody knew what she was saying. We all thought something like "me so bouncy" or something. There's also, though, a tinge of very bad to go along with this.
Okay.
That, again, you probably don't know about. So, M. Bison's coming out. He's the first character, and he has an attack where he knocks you down and kneels on your neck.
Oh, why?
That wasn't intention. Again, it's a Japanese company. They aren't, worried about international politics on that. But
yeah,
there have been some very racially charged commenters from people saying they can't wait to kneel on some of the black characters' necks. To the point where a couple of my friends, or at least one of my friends, is actively trying to decide that she actually doesn't think she's going to play the game anymore because she's just so grossed out by these, like, probably 10 children. Let's be real.
Yeah. That's wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
I did not know about that. So hopefully, I mean, I don't know when they plan to do the release of his character. Maybe they can get that taken care of before the release.
June 20th.
Okay, maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe a patch afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, like, it's a harmless thing. It's just like a cruel attack by a dictator.
Yeah.
But and it's not even the people who the good ones. And if you're not one of the good ones, we don't want you watching the show. Go to hell. The good ones look at it and they're like, oh, it's in Bison's dictator. It's an attack. It's what he does. It's nothing meant by it. But like I said, there's a lot of people who are like, boy, I sure can't wait to kneel on DJ's neck like that. It's gross.
Yeah, like I'm trying to keep my composure. Just stuff like that is very sickening to me.
Yeah,
So
same.
hopefully they'll get that addressed.
Moving on from that bit of dourness, there's Tears of Metal, set in Scotland. Sounds like it has dragons. What more do you need? It also has co-op too, and it's kind of ugly though, like for real.
Oh, okay.
Um, it looks like an indie game, maybe. I don't know, but it's also got like tinges of oh, what's it called? Where you're usually like one guy against like 100, like a Musou game. I think is
Oh,
the
okay,
term.
gotcha.
Yeah, it looks like a Musou game, but like really ugly. But also combat
Yeah.
kind of looks cool, so it's one of those wait and see things.
Does it at least have a heavy metal soundtrack with a name like Tears of Metal?
Probably everything is fire and brimstone and angry looking people, so I would imagine it does have a bit of a banger soundtrack.
Maybe that will be the redeeming factor for it.
Um, then after that, it's Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. It's Dragon Ball Z again. Literally, even has the Raditz and Frieza's fights in it. I mean, that's all the Dragon Ball Z games are for the most part. Like the fighting game wasn't, but most of the games like the 2D fighter that was kind of like Marvel vs. Capcom. But the vast majority of Dragon Ball games, you're literally just playing the first half of Dragon Ball Z over and over and over again.
Yeah, that's most of them. I think the only one that ever really stood for me, there was the Game Boy Advance Dragon Ball Z game. Absolutely loved it. It came out around the same time as the Game Boy Micro did, which I don't know how many people even remember that console. It's so teeny tiny. I loved it though. And it had like role playing elements, so you were like running around. It's more adventure, like RPG feel to it
Mm-hmm.
versus the usual fighting games that we get. But yeah, I've tried a few of the fighting games. I remember this is gonna date me as well. In the PlayStation 1 days, the first like super duper popular Japanese imported PlayStation 1 game was a Dragon Ball fighting game. Just because like that was the first one to really show like a lot of animation. Like yeah, there was imports of the Super Nintendo versions before that, but it didn't have like the cool like a full motion video, aspect to it like this PlayStation 1 game did. But yeah, the only one that ever worked for me was the Game Boy Advance RPG, so
Yup, fair enough. I can't even think of any Dragon Ball Z games that I can be like, I like that one. It's just a
oh
big
yeah.
old whatever for me. I love Dragon Ball Z, don't get me wrong, but I haven't watched it since high school. Um,
Yeah, it's been a minute. Like I went through Kai when they did the re-release under that. I don't think I've ever finished it though, just because I lived and breathed like the OG Dragon Ball Z as it was being released on Cartoon Network. So,
yup.
and I had a friend when I worked in a retail place at one point in my life. This was like 100 years ago. He was getting the VHS tapes of the dubbed versions that would basically be released before Cartoon Network was allowed to air them on TV.
Hmm.
So he would have them like 2 or 3 months in advance. So I would go over to his house occasionally, and we would watch those. So that was a lot of fun.
I still have it's on the bookshelf right there. It's a bootleg
Okay,
Naruto that I bought. It's like the
nice.
first 25 to 30 episodes that I bought when it was still like just premiering in America. I bought it
I
at
love
like a random anime store at the Mall of Georgia, and I was like, "This looks cool." And then I watched the subtitles, and I was like, "This is cool, but this isn't right.
it. Exactly.
This is not correct."
The whole tape trading environment back then too. This was talking about the early days of the internet. So you would mostly use internet not to stream at that time, but mostly for tape trading. Like you would have emails, you go back and forth with folks and say, "Hey, I have these 5 VHS tapes. What do you have?" Did a lot of that back in the day.
I didn't know
Not only
that was
for
a
anime,
thing.
but also pro wrestling as well. That's how I got into New Japan Pro Wrestling back in the day.
I
So
did not know that was a thing. That's
much
that's something
fun.
that's dead at this point.
Oh, totally. Yeah, since everything you can find online, and but it's kind of funny to say that too because there are people that are still like uncovering old VHS versions of like the most random things and uploading those online, and I'm like, oh crap, I remember watching that when I was like 10 years old or whatever. A lot of fun.
You're gonna love the next two as much as me.
Okay.
Blumhouse, the horror movie people,
Yes.
they have opened a game studio, and they showed off one, two, three, four. I want to say it was like there's four listed on the IGN article, but I want to say there was like 7 or 8 different games that they showed off.
Yeah, I think I counted like 5 or 6 alone when I was, skimming over everything, and, of the ones mentioned, Grave Seasons, that one kinda jumped out at me, just like the description they gave of that and the little bit of information I could find before we started podcasting, and also Sleep Awake, looked really good, and if you had any that jumped out at you, but those were the 2 for me right off the bat.
All of them looked kind of cool. What really jumped out to me more than the games themselves was how different they all looked and felt.
Mhm.
Every one of them looked like it came out on a different console. Like one of them looked like a PS1 game. One
Right.
looked like it was like a retro pixel throwback. Then you had one that had like really medium-ish 3D graph. It was a lot of variety.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
totally.
they are definitely throwing the spaghetti at the wall, and I'm here for it. Um,
Seeing what sticks.
Power
And
Rangers, Rita's Rewind.
that's what I was gonna say, speaking of retro, doesn't get much more retro than Power Rangers.
That's the original ones, by the way. That is old Jason and etc. Kimberly, Zach, I Can Do This, Trini, and Billy. I remember them all.
Who was your,
Tommy.
crush?
Who was my crush?
Yeah, who was your crush from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers?
It was Yellow Ranger, Trini,
Yellow Ranger? Yeah.
obviously.
Pink Ranger for me,
It was a
which I
huge
I'm
shame
very
that
basic.
she died.
Oh, I know, yeah, I do remember reading about that years after, so that is definitely a shame.
Well, I went to Dragon Con one year, and some of the old Power Rangers cast was there, and I got to meet, and I don't remember his name, but I got to meet the guy that played Zach. And I got to meet the second Yellow Ranger that replaced Trini after she died, and
Okay.
I don't remember her name at all. And then Lord Zed was there, and he was sleepy.
Lord,
He was old and sleepy.
old and s old and
I've
sleepy, I like
never
it.
seen anybody at a convention passed out in their autograph chair,
Oh my
but he
goodness.
was gone.
Yeah, I think we recently lost, the Green Ranger, who was also the White Ranger too, back in 2022. I was looking it up now, his name is Jason David
I
Frank.
think we lost him to unaliving himself.
Oh, wow, I did not know that. I just remember. Yeah, you are correct.
Yeah, he's
That is
he's one of the
insane.
many tragedies in our lifetime up there with Robin Williams and stuff. Just old school idols from when we were kids. It's
Yeah.
it's it's him, Robin Williams. Crap. What's his name from Lincoln Park?
Oh, Chester.
Yeah, Chester. We lost Chester. Just a lot of people who like literally defined our childhoods have just removed themselves from the picture, and it sucks.
Yeah. He had an interesting history after the Power Rangers, ended. Like, he chose to stick with fighting and martial arts in general, too. I remember seeing a lot, on him when he decided to go into MMA. He actually began training with, some former, like, UFC fighters and had I don't know if he went, like, fully pro with it, and I know he definitely had a lot of amateur fights. I would have to look that up, but yeah, yeah,
Well,
I thought that was kinda cool that he stuck with the whole ninja fighting thing
he also
afterward.
just stuck with the Power Rangers forever. I think he was in Power Rangers
Oh, yeah.
until like season 4 or 5, like far long after the rest of the cast had moved on.
Oh, yeah.
Jason was doing gay porn. Uh, Kimberly was making other movies, and Tommy was just like, "I'm still a Power Ranger."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the new era, I'm looking it up now, Ninja K, the Bat in the Sun era, like, yeah, he definitely stuck around for a minute.
hmm but yeah, anyways, I
Uh,
know we talked a lot about Power Rangers in general. The game itself, the 2D beat 'em up, like the Ninja Turtles games and King of Fighter game, not King of Fighters, Rage Streets of Rage games that come out recently. It just looks dope. It just looks like sit down
I'm
with with 4 of your friends and just go
I'm
nuts.
here for it. I'm
Yeah.
here for it. I know it's not retro throwback time, but there was a Power Rangers, like, side-scrolling beat 'em up on the Super Nintendo that I absolutely loved back in the day. It gave me, hopes and feelings that the gameplay would be similar to that, except for, with upgraded stuff. So very
hmm
excited. I'll definitely check it out. At the moment, it does not have a release date, but we do know it will be released on PC at least. So
Yeah. Um, I'm gonna skip Mecha Break because it's something I don't know anything about. If you want to talk about it, well, I'll just read it real quick. Um, it's just a beta test coming out. It looks like it's
oh, the
got
Gundam
some.
game, yeah,
Yeah, it's got some. Oh, is it a Gundam game?
yeah,
Oh, okay. Well, that checks out.
yeah. I don't know much about it other than that. I haven't seen it, but yeah, they said it closed beta test in August on PC. So I'll just kind of wait and see.
Cool. All right, I'm down. Um, and then we have Alan Wake 2 Night Springs DLC, which I need to play. It showed off 3. What were the characters? It showed off 3 characters, and I didn't. One of them was the girl that runs the coffee shop.
Okay.
One of them is the redhead from Control, the main character from that. I forget her name. And then the other one was a character that I don't really remember. Actually, I think it may have been like Alan Wake's best friend from the first game that like went looking for him. But it's Night Springs, and it looks like it's kind of alternate reality type stuff, which is, I mean, everything in Alan Wake is alternate reality, so who even knows what that means?
I know, right?
But I was a big fan of Alan Wake 2. I only streamed it for like 3 episodes, and I mostly played it off stream because I was just having so much fun with it. I didn't want to wait.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Cool.
Valorant is coming to consoles, so they can be mad that they're getting slapped by mouse and keyboards when they go to professional tournaments.
Exactly. What can you do? I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Among Us is getting a cartoon, which is hilarious and awesome.
I'll watch it.
I will too.
Yeah, that's definitely. I'm curious to see, because I mean, Gen X, Gen Alpha, obviously played Among Us quite a bit, so I'm assuming the humor and the banter may be very skibbity toilet, if I'm using the phrase correctly. I don't know, but I'll check it out.
I don't know if you're using it correctly either, to be honest. There's also, I'm gonna look this up real quick, see if I can get the trailer, because I remember being excited about it, but I don't remember what it was. It's called Slitterhead. What was this? Oh right, you were like so I don't, they didn't really show a lot, but you kind of bounce between people.
Okay.
Like you almost like hack their brain or something, and then you can use them to fight creatures and stuff. But like some of them are special. Like there's, in the first couple of things, it's like she's bouncing back between this normal looking guy, then a normal looking lady, and then like it shows you playing as this little kid with like giant red claws, which looks super cool.
That sounds interesting. That one's due for November 8th. Be on PC, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox.
Yeah.
No Switch.
Switch can't handle it.
There's so many more. That's just kind of like scraping the surface. Is there any others that jumped out at you?
Killer Bean.
I was gonna skip that one because I thought it looked dumb.
Oh my god, no, it's insane. It's okay. We're gonna pause the podcast. I'm gonna go say hi to my wife while Jamie watches this trailer, and then I'll be right back. Jamie,
watching it.
Huh?
It looks so fucking dumb.
Watch the trailer. Watch the trailer. I'm telling you, it's ridiculous.
Okay. Why does this look like VeggieTales?
I don't know, but like
the gameplay does look good, but god damn, I can't get over the shitty character design. Like, ugh, it's cringe.
I kind of love it. Do you see like the girl with like the girls on rollerblades or whatever fighting him with martial arts?
And when he turns around, his head looks like a butt crack.
It does look like a butt. I don't know, man. I kind of low key think it's gonna be amazing. Anyway, so yeah, Killer Bean.
Okay.
What else was there? I'm scrolling through real quick, see if there's anything else that I was excited about. Power World's getting a new island, which is cool.
Another Sonic game. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah. That's pretty much everything at this point that I had opinions on.
Yeah.
Overall, though, like it was like a 10 out of 10 show.
And that was just the Summerfest. There's still also the Xbox games showcase as well that took place.
Yeah, which we actually have to pull. God, yeah, that's right. We have to pull that up now. See if there's anything new there.
I'll jump into a couple just to get us going. So, Call of Duty Black Ops 6. I played some of the earlier Black Ops games. I don't really do much with them now. The only reason why I'm bringing it up is it's Call of Duty. I know it's popular for a lot of folks. And then comicbook.com also showed off a Call of Duty Gundam crossover. In theory, it looked cool, but I was interested until I saw that the Gundams were the size of humans. I thought that was kind of weird. So that was the only thing that jumped out at me about that. You have a very surprised face. Go ahead.
Doom, the Dark Ages.
Yes. Yeah, I was going to save that for last. So the ones that excited me the most, Doom, the Dark Ages. which we'll get into a little bit. Also, Age of Mythology. It's going to be a retelling of the original Age of Mythology. Diablo 4 expansion pack was
Man.
also announced.
Yeah.
World of Warcraft expansion pack also announced. And Fable. I don't know if that's going to be a complete like remaster or if they're starting over. But the original Fable, absolutely loved it back in the day. That I was a day one buyer of that one. I was a chicken chaser back in the day. So, anything else jumped out at you before we dig into a couple of those?
So there's a new Life is Strange game, which it's not really something that I play, but like I know there's a lot of people that'll love that because they
Yeah.
like that character and that storyline. Expedition 33 is ringing some bells. What is that? Why am I like? Oh, right. It's what was this game? Oh my God! Right, bro. This is a turn-based RPG.
Okay, let me find that one. I did not see that one.
Yeah, I'll
Oh, there
shoot
it is.
I'll shoot you a quick I'll shoot you a video on
They're obscure exploration or expedition
Facebook
33.
real quick. Like my jaw dropped when I saw this game because you would think I would have heard of this or something, being this is my entire niche.
Yeah,
But just skip to like I don't
yeah. I'm
know,
going through the video now. It does look pretty sharp.
1 minute 10 seconds is when they start showing gameplay.
Yeah, that looks beautiful. And so it looks like time sequences, at least for some of the attacks.
Made by the Ubisoft devs, I guess that's where they went. Oh, it's Sandfall Interactive's debut game, which is a bunch of ex Ubisoft devs that got laid off.
Oh, gotcha. There you go. Yeah, that looks really good. Like that one was not on my radar. I'll definitely check that out.
It reminds me a lot of I don't know if you remember Lost Odyssey, I think it was called.
Yes.
Like it was just random hyper realistic turn-based RPG that came out for Xbox 360.
Yeah.
It reminds me a lot of that. Just like it doesn't need to look this good, but it does. So I guess we're just doing that.
Exactly. And then one I didn't mention earlier that it's kind of interesting. I'm always on the fence with these games until I just like try them out
Hey,
first.
Jamie, pause for a second.
Yeah.
Recording. We can just pick up where you left off. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So the next one looked interesting to me. I'm always on the fence with these squad-based shooter games, but Fragpunk looked kind of interesting. It's a 5-on-5 hero shooter, where yeah, like you activate like power-up cards and everything. Like they first showed it off at this event, so I haven't heard of it before then. So the way you kind of upgrade and make modifications to your characters in the form of shard cards. I want to make sure I said that right, not shat cards.
Shard cards.
At least at the launch, it's going to have over 70 to pick from. You can build out 10 different heroes, 14 different weapons across 4 different maps just to get things going. But yeah, I thought that one looked interesting. I'll definitely check that out. And then I think the other one outside of the big kahunas that we'll get into in a second, another Dragon Age game. I know a lot of people love Dragon Age. So that one, BioWare and Electronic Arts, that's one of their babies. They've been working on this one for years, if I remember correctly. So it's cool to be able to see it in action.
It's probably going to be exactly that, an action game.
Exactly.
Which is why I'm not interested. Dragon Age 1 was a great, and Part 2 had, great strategic turn-based combat. And then Dragon Age, I think Origins came out, and it's just like flippity-floppity, I'm a sloppity.
Exactly.
I don't even know what that meant. But yeah, so... which ones were you wanting to specifically get into?
Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl. That's the first one on my list. It reveals quite a bit in the first official trailer for it. This will be on Xbox, on PC. It will be a day one Game Pass game. Most of these, probably all of them for that matter, will be day one Game Pass. Forgot to mention that earlier.
And that's why they're going under.
Yeah. And so they showed a new trailer that includes some brand new reveals, so I highly recommend checking it out. So just an array of different experiences that we haven't had from the first game. Just like new locations, new types of mutants, things of that nature. I really like the first one, so I think that'll be a lot of fun. So that's the first one that jumped out at me. My family and myself has been getting into the cozy games here lately. So there's one called Winter Burrow that looked really interesting. It's a cozy survival experience game. I don't know exactly what that means yet, but I'm up for it. But coming from playing like Stardew Valley and And shoot, I'm trying to think of the other one that we play. Cozy Grove, I think is the name of it. My wife's gonna kill me if I mess that name up. But so going into like having elements like that, but then also having like some challenging gameplay, like survival mechanics, I think looked really fun in the trailer that they showed for Winter Burrow. Make sure I get the name right. And then that leads us to Doom. For my personal list, did you watch the Doom trailer?
I did. I
It's so
watched it a
good.
minute ago. It looked crazy good. Yeah.
The Dark Ages comes to Xbox in 2025.
I don't have the
Yeah,
volume on, so I can't get a beat of the story or anything. But like, why
it's
is
Doom. You
it?
don't need a story. There's demons. You have guns. You shoot the demons.
That was a mechanical dragon I just saw. They're just doing the Resident Evil thing where they're like, I don't know, fucking demons. Here's a dragon. Like,
But yeah,
that's
and
fine by
I'm here
me.
for it.
That's the
Like, I
thing.
absolutely love Doom, so I'm here for it.
There's no reasons like games can't be fun, right? Like Doom
Exactly.
doesn't have to follow this strict formula of you get pistol, you kill imp, then you get shotgun, and then you kill other things, and then you get rocket. It doesn't have to do that. And this one's like, fuck you, chainsaw and shield. I love it. I love it.
And then get to eventually unlock the BFG. Then everything's over.
Yup. Which I mean, even they've even balanced that really well
Yeah.
in the last few games. So
Yeah, I was that was a big lifesaver for me. Like if you think back to 2020, two games came out at the same time. If you think of how movies were released last year, and everyone talked about like Barbie and Oppenheimer coming out on the same day. Well, we had the video game version of that back in 2020. We had Animal Crossing
and
the
Doom.
at the time the latest version of Doom came out in the same day. So that was the last time I went to a GameStop and did a in-person pre-order for anything because I wanted to take my kids and give them the experience of that. And yeah, we had a blast. Like I'll never forget. It was supposed to come out on whatever the date was, but we were eating dinner the night before, and I got a call from GameStop, and they said, "Hey, we just got the word we can go ahead and release these early. You don't have to wait until midnight or come in tomorrow." We stopped eating, put our food in the oven to keep it warm, and drove immediately to GameStop to get these games.
That's awesome.
It's one of my favorite stories from the pandemic era. So
I just remember that whole thing because there's a lot of fan art of Doom Guy and that one character from Animal Crossing, and sometimes she would have a shotgun.
Yeah, it would be him like trying to calm her down, and she's like taking the shotgun and killing everything.
Yeah.
Very appropriate.
Let's see. There's a Perfect Dark reboot, which I'm sure is cool. I already gushed a bit about Expedition 33. Looking forward to that, just because turn-based RPG. It's my steez.
In the MMO world, there's Fallout 76 updates that got announced, and then also Elder Scrolls Online, some updates around that. And then not really MMO based, but Sea of Thieves is still going on. They're up to season 13, so they talked about that as well.
It's
So
the same thing with Avowed. It looks like it's coming to Xbox,
yeah.
which is a survival style game. We almost played it, but then we didn't. Isn't that what that is?
I have
Oh
no,
no, that is not what Avowed is. Avowed is something
Plagues the living land.
yeah, I've not played or looked into that one personally, so I'm
Oh,
not
this
sure.
looks like Skyrim.
I just want the next Elder Scrolls like actual game. Like no offense to anyone who plays the MMO. I tried it. It's okay for an MMO game, but that's not what I want.
Yeah. I will do the same thing I always do, as I will play the Assassin and Thieves Guild quest, and then I'll quit 90 hours later once I complete those.
And then the World of Warcraft expansion. This one's called The War Within. That's due out on August 26th. My brother and sister-in-law still actively play World of Warcraft, so I know they were excited about that. So, but
we were talking about that a few podcasts ago, right? Where like they're going to try to make it more new player friendly.
Yeah, so I'll be interested to see. I did not watch the trailer for that one yet, but I mean the game's like 20 years old at this point, or close to it anyway. So it's very interesting. I know they were kind of tying it back to that, how the game has a near 20-year history at this point. So for a fact that MMO is lasting that long is fantastic. I know that kind of goes into the realm of like the Ultima online games, and then of course EverQuest, which that was the start for a lot of people, aka Evercrack.
For me, it was World of Warcraft. Actually, for me, it was Phantasy Star Online too, or no, Phantasy Star Online. Yeah,
yeah. Fantasy
And
Star Online was a big one for me. There was another one I played for a little bit. I cannot remember the name of it. Anarchy Online. I don't even know if it still exists. I haven't thought about that in years, but yeah, that was my first two that brought me to the MMO game back in the day.
let's see. I guess it's about all the summer game stuff we have for now. So just
Yeah.
other random news bits that we had. VG247 reports the new Astro Bot game will feature over 150 classic PlayStation characters and no microtransactions.
Woohoo! I'm a
Um,
fan of that.
yeah, right. Comicbook.com reports Call of Duty kicks off Gundam crossover
Yeah.
with first bundle and a new trailer.
Yeah, we talked about that. Like, I was super interested until I saw that the mechs were human size. I'm like, that defeats the purpose, and I quit watching. They
The
need to be mech sized. I want my mechs to be as big as buildings.
At
I'm
that
sorry.
point, that's not even a mech, though, is it? That's an exosuit.
Thank you. Exactly. I mean, whatever. I'm sure people will love it, but you
Yeah,
almost had me, Call of Duty. You almost had me.
this close. Um, PlayStation reveals the VR2 PC adapter, which means if you have like the PlayStation VR2 or whatever, you'll be able to buy this add-on for $60 and use it on your PC, which is actually kind of cool. In
Yep.
case you
So
want
any
to,
Steam VR games will be available to you at that point. So that's kind of a saving grace at this point. I don't think the VR headsets are selling very well
they're
anymore.
too expensive. They're like 450, 500, $600.
Exactly. That's honestly why I have stuck with my Quest 2 headset because I think I only paid like 150, maybe 175 for it for a Black Friday deal.
Yeah.
Works fine. That one you can also connect to a compatible like computer graphics card and play like Steam VR games. And even then, I still don't really play it that much to be honest. But yeah, I feel like they're grasping at straws trying to keep this thing alive at this point. But more power to them for trying.
Well, I mean, and it's cool technology. And it's cool to do. It's just like I said, it's not affordable to anybody. I mean, by the time you buy your $2,000-$3,000 computer that can handle VR, and then
Yeah.
also another 700, you've effectively um you're gatekeeping the entire genre of games with money. I would
Yeah.
have loved to have played, Five Nights at Freddy Help Wanted 2. I would have loved to play there's that like game that was announced at the Sony State of Play that looked really cool, where like they were the giants and you had to fight them and stuff. But
Yeah.
it's just not something I get to do because I can't afford that price tag.
It's not worth it right now because I can't think of a single game that has like strong replayability from like a storyline perspective. There's plenty of party-based games that
Hmm.
have a lot of replayability, like Super Hot VR. That's one that I usually will break out with friends and family from time to time, and the various like dancing games that you can do various things with. But yeah, it's just
There
I'm
would
sorry, it's not worth it.
Resident Evil 4 would have been worth it, except they remade it, and it's like one of the best games ever made. So
Right, right, yeah.
why would you even go to the VR version when the PS5/PC version's so good?
I hear you. I don't know what to tell you though.
um, According to leaker Midori, Square Enix will be bringing Visions of Mana to the Switch too. I guess this is something that's found in the files or whatever.
Yeah, so the game's due to be released on PlayStation, PC, and Xbox platforms this year. Looks like some data scrapings already took place. So yeah, Midori, we'll link to a Twitter conversation, excuse me, X, where they discuss a little bit more in depth. But yeah, Squinix is already hard at work on their Switch 2 development system. It sounds like.
Yup, and again, we'll get a Nintendo Direct either this week or this month or next month. I forget, but they already confirmed there will not be anything on the Switch 2 during that Direct. I think it's this month. I think it's all like right now. The Summer Games Fest is basically the new E3.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Since E3 is dead, RIP.
yeah. Um. So moving, I keep dropping my pen. It's because standing desk. Star Citizen player remakes entire Star Wars movie in game, which means they made Star Wars in the engine faster than they have actually made the game.
Okay.
I guess at least it's useful for something.
Yeah, I got nothing. I know we talked about Star Citizen last week.
Yep.
So
Um,
okay.
just a personal story for me. While it doesn't have a release date yet, Five Nights at Freddy's Into the Pit actually has a Steam page now. It's
They missed
a
an opportunity. They should have called it Into the Thick of It.
Well, the reason it's called Into the Pit, Jamie, Um, I don't know if I mentioned this to you last time we talked about FNAF, but in the books, there's a ball pit that you can time travel.
Oh, okay.
It's a time traveling ball pit. You get into the pit of balls, and then you get out of the pit of balls, and you're in the 80s.
So you have a lot of experience with ball pits, I hear.
Yeah, I was actually gonna make the joke. That's also what happened late 1979. You jump into a bunch of balls, you pop out, and it's 80.
There you
Um,
go.
but yeah, I'm excited
Happy
about
New
it.
Year.
This is like a 2D stealth pixel style game. Where again, this kid's kind of time traveling with a ball pit, and I know it sounds stupid, but hear me out. It is, but that's what makes FNAF great. I actually I had to do court today, and I didn't get selected for jury duty, thank goodness. But I did read two and a half Five Nights at Freddy's graphic novels, and they are both terrible and also really awesome. So
So is the experience for you just like sitting around in a waiting room until they decide if they're going to use you or not?
no, they interview.
Uh-oh.
Why are you under my feet? I'm trying to take off my hoodie and my damn cat's under my feet, so I stepped on his tail and he hissed and clawed at me. And
While
I'm
the
like,
other
bro,
one's
that was
staring at you.
literally your fault.
The other one's staring at you on the couch like, dude, what are you doing?
Ugh, Jesus. Anyways, I'll just want to take off my hoodie to show off my FNAF shirt. I got it's awesome. I love this shirt.
There you go.
I actually just got. I'm also wearing the matching pants.
Of course you are.
But yeah, I actually had to get this returned. Not returned, replaced. They're replacing it for me for free because the stitching on the shoulder is coming
Oh wow.
undone.
Yeah, that's no good.
They just sent me. They're sending me a free one.
Oh, cool. Little quality
Yeah.
control issue there.
Yeah, it happens. I mean, I've ordered literally thousands of dollars worth of stuff from Cloak, and this is the first thing I've ever gotten that was damaged.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's that I'm excited about. We talked about Xbox Showcase and the Summer Games Fest Showcase. So the only thing left is Xbox Toaster.
Yeah, so on Walmart.com for the low price of $39, you too can have an Xbox toaster. It looks like an Xbox and it makes toast. I don't know what else to add, but I came across that through an
Oh,
advertisement and thought it was hilarious.
that's not what I thought it was at all. I'm actually disappointed now. I thought it was like AVGN's
The
Nintoaster,
Nintendo toaster.
where you could like put Xbox games into it and play them, like
I
OG
honestly thought the
Xbox.
same thing when I saw the advertisement. This is one of the rare times where a social media ad got me because I'm like, excuse me, what? I clicked on it immediately.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
And you and your Venom 3 movie trailer.
Yeah, so just sticking with Marvel stuff since we talk about Snap from time to time. Oops, let me move my cursor here. There we go. So the new trailer was released on Monday, June 3rd. So we're recording this on Monday, June 10th, so a week ago. And my body is ready. So one of the main bad guys for this one's going to be Toxin. I know there was mixed feelings about the second Venom movie. Personally, I'm fine with it. I've read like probably almost all, if not all, of the Venom comics that's available on the Marvel Unlimited service that you can get through, like the Kindle and all those different like ebook formats. So yeah, like I'm very in tune and in check with this realm of possibilities of what could be available in the Venom movie universe, and I was fine with the first and second one. So the trailer for the third one looks good too. I think this is going to be wrapping it up though. I don't know if they're going to continue with this Venom. But with it being Venom and what Venom can do, there's tons of opportunities to continue his character and the main art, like overarching storyline. Sony does own the rights to the movie version of Venom, so it will have to be a situation where they're still talking and communicating and working with the the Disney version of the Marvel studio universe as well. So, but
Venom
I'm here
is
for it. Excited to see it.
Venom is one of those that's like in like almost licensing hell, right? Where just like he's with like Spider-Man, he's just everywhere. Nobody knows or
Yeah, so to give a quick history lesson, Marvel almost went bankrupt in the 70s and early 80s, so they sold off their rights to a lot of their characters, and they're paying for it now, unfortunately. So these smaller companies were buying up the rights, and then those smaller companies got bought by bigger companies, and that's what led us to where we are today. That's why we didn't have X-Men in the main Marvel universe for a long time, and we're just now starting to get a fix for that with
he's trickling
Deadpool
it
and
with
Wolverine.
Deadpool. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like very
so very
slowly. I think that was what I think that's probably as good as the Deadpool movies are. That's my favorite scene from Deadpool is
Oh yeah.
when he's actually in the Mutant Academy and freaking like a door opens and like all of the X-Men fully costumed, makeup, just looking badass are in there, and like Beast sneaks up and shuts the door quietly because
Yes,
they don't want to deal with Wade. I
exactly.
love that scene a lot because it was
That's
just
fantastic.
that was so much money just for a gag.
Oh my goodness. And then I didn't have it listed here, but they did show a not really a movie trailer, but a trailer for silencing your phones that's going to air before Wolverine and Deadpool. And that one was funny because they totally it's Deadpool and Wolverine. They just go ballistic on someone who has a cell phone turned on, and the ringtone's going nuts in the movie theater crowd. So definitely check that out too. It was pretty funny.
That's great. All right, and to wrap things up, finally, we have Marvel Snap as usual.
Cool.
I hate this season.
Is Thena not working out for you?
The only thing that's working for anybody is freaking ongoing effects in Ultron. That's
Oh yeah,
all I see. Like,
that's exactly what I predicted.
I just, the God, whoever buffed Ultron needs to rethink their life and maybe go to church
Oh, okay, gotcha.
because there's something unholy going on in those walls, my dude. I
Um,
mean,
I'm okay with it personally because I like Ultron. So
well, first off, I don't have Ultron, but second off, I get sick of losing to the same deck over. If I want to lose, at least I want to lose to different
yeah,
things. It's just, and it's not even like. Sometimes he's just splashed in. Sometimes I'm like, I've got this. This is this kind of deck. I'm
yeah,
fine. I win, and then they drop Ultron, and just suddenly they have all this extra power everywhere. And I was like, how was I supposed to stop that? I didn't even know they were running Ultron.
yeah. It's definitely a pain. Yeah, the best way to combat it that I've been able to do so far. I mean, Professor X helps a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Rogue helps a lot because you can still like the powering up ability if you drop Rogue at the right time. Um, but yeah, like I've actually been having fun with Gilgamesh and Thena. Like I did not expect to have this much fun with them. Yeah, really excited about that.
I
To
like
continue
them
with this
too, but
series.
I can't seem to use them.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Right now, because Coop, so there's a guy in my Discord named Coop. He listens to the podcast and he watches like a lot of my streams and stuff. He's a cool guy.
Yeah.
We got him into that really hardcore.
Oh, nice.
Like he played it for a day and dropped $100 on the Magic pack.
Oh
Like,
wow.
yeah, he has disposable income.
Yeah.
Um, Red Guardian pisses me off a lot because I've had my Athena hit with by Red Guardian more than once.
Yeah, that's like one of the few cards I don't have at the moment, but I'm almost at the point where I don't want it because it makes me so angry. So,
One of the
but yeah, like Gilgamesh for me, I mentioned this in the Snap episode that I recorded, but the Sebastian Shaw deck that I discussed very in depth, like that's an instant like infinite right there. Like I was able to get infinite so easily with that deck. I've dropped considerably since then, but thanks to Ultron and some of the other stuff going on. But yeah, I was able to shoot up pretty fast with my Sebastian Shaw deck. So that one was perfect because Sebastian Shaw, if you're unfamiliar with him, he gains extra power permanently when other cards impact like his power level.
Mhm.
So if you have stuff like Silver Surfer, because he's a 3-level card, Silver Surfer impacts 3-level cards. Nakia, X Forge, Nova, just to name a few off the top of my head. All those impact Sebastian Shaw. So the same thing works for Gilgamesh. So if you're upgrading your power level of all your other cards, Gilgamesh comes in to the game, pretty high level as well.
So the number one deck right now, and I may have to modify my version of the Athena deck a little bit. Unfortunately, I literally don't have 4 of the cards.
Oh, okay.
So the number one deck right now with a 66.5% win rate, mind you.
Wow.
It's Kitty Pryde, Nebula, Angela, Athena, White Widow, Jeff. Ravonna Renslayer, Green Goblin, Sage, Hope Summers, Professor X, Cannonball. That is the number one deck right now by a
That makes
wide
sense.
margin.
Yeah, that makes sense because a lot of those mechanics work very well together. And then being able to lock down a whole lane with Professor X and
Mhm.
having Jeff in your deck too. to move them over afterward. That's a nice little slap in the face.
Yeah. So I mean, it's I might try to run something similar. I mean, again, like you have to have Jeff to play in Professor X, or you have to have War Machine, which I do have War Machine, so maybe that's something I try. I don't know, but I also don't have Ravonna, Sage, or unfortunately Nebula.
Oh, okay.
So we'll see. But yeah,
Nebula is so universal. Like I know I talk about Sunspot all the time, but Nebula is like right up there too. Like I use Nebula in so many different decks. So yeah, try to get that one as soon as you can. Very useful card.
actually, as soon as I opened Snap just now, I got a questionnaire that said, "How satisfied were you at Snap?" And I said, "Somewhat satisfied," because I'm actually really pissed about how much I'm losing lately,
Yeah.
and how like all of these like
Bigger
high
thing.
high rarity cards are you know, the thing. But
Yeah.
yeah. Anyways, I think that about covers it. Yes.
Yep, I think that's it for this week. I don't even know how long we went. It feels like we went quite a bit of time. So,
We're about at 45, 50 minutes.
no, not too bad.
Yeah, it's about the normal.
Yeah, tomorrow we'll have Cersei. I just looked it up real fast for Marvel Snap, so I'll be interested to see how she's going to play into the insanity of everything. Reminder: her ability is on revealed. Transform your other cards here into random cards. It costs one more if able.
I just pinned Hit Monkey.
Hitmonkey might be good with Thena
Mm-hmm.
if you cast Mysterio at the same time. That's Hitmonkey Mysterio is like a no brainer, but
Yeah.
I don't really use them that much personally.
All right. Well, Snap stuff aside, thanks everybody so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, of course, likes, comments, subscriptions, all the good stuff help with a bunch. If you have something specific you want us to talk about, be sure to let us know in the comments below. And we'll see you in the next one. Deuces, dummies.
See ya. Try not to die.
Good. He said it. I was worried.